And I'll be your host tonight, too, along with Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Phone lines are now open at 602-666-6027. That's 602-666-6027.
We'll be taking your phone calls from around the world and right here in the U.S. Welcome, everybody. We're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Happy Monday, December 7th, a significant day in history because this is the day, once again, that Dr. Dean will climb into the radio and broadcast her wisdom, her clarity, her content, and her amazing resources to people all over the world so that they can improve their lives, their minds, their bodies, their spirits, their 5 bodies, and more through minerals, magnesium, natural nutrient, safe solutions, and, of course, the totally wholly beneficial and absolutely astounding eye cell as located in the RNA drops. So we're happy to have you here again with us this evening. Before I bring Dr. Dean on, I just want to remind everybody that Dr. Dean is here to talk with everybody very generously, I believe, for great benefit. Also, just giving her opinion, just saying what she would do, of course, if it were her in the situation that she's discussing, but certainly not giving any medical advice, nor can she be your doctor or physician. You can take anything that she says to your doctor if you so choose. She is also a medical doctor and a naturopath, herbalist, acupuncturist, nutritionist, lecturer, consultant, author, and many, many, many books, including How to Change Your Life with Magnesium, the Future Health Now Encyclopedia, which is an incredible treasury of wisdom and resource, Death by Modern Medicine, where she looks at allopathic medicine, as she likes to call it, and also the Magnesium Miracle in its 3rd edition, now exclusively found on Amazon. So we're happy to have her here with us this evening. Once again, Tripping the Light Fantastic with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Welcome, Carolyn. Oh, Carolyn. I believe Carolyn might be on mute. Hello, Dr.
Bob.
Dean?
Hello.
There you are. I got you.
Oh, good. Got you. You caught me, man. I was just flying all over the East Coast trying to figure out, where's Jenny? She knows I'm here. So here I am, and I don't have anything funnier to say today, so I think we better just get on with the play. It's not a job. This is not a job to me. This is a lot of fun, and even though we are faced with complex, sometimes horrifying stories from people, I mean, the ones who are communicating with us are telling us every day that they're having such benefits with the complement formulas and the advice I've been giving. And I really don't have anything more to say except let's just keep going and keep putting out the information so people can benefit.
Absolutely. Let's take a minute to review your blog that you've posted this week, and before we get into the main portion of our show.
Hey, yes, let me just dial that up. I'm doing, I think it's number 14 summit since the fall. And I told that to someone the other day. They just couldn't believe it. They've been trying to get on one summit. So I've been doing so many summits, which I guess tells you that a lot of folks out there who are want to get their information out there, want to increase their subscriber lists. It's a way for practitioners to get more subscribers on their newsletters, etc. And it's a great way for me to expose a whole other audience to our work. But the number 13 or 14 is going to be the Self-Love Revolution Summit. And when you want to see my blogs and if you can't click into some of the things on the email blog I send out, the most recent blog is just on the homepage of drcarolyndean.com, and that's where I go to go over with you every week. And basically, the self-love revolution, I kind of took it to mean that women especially are just spending so much time taking care of other people and not taking care of themselves. And we've seen this over and over again. And basically, I try to make it as easy as possible, telling people to drink more water, put sea salt or Celtic or Himalayan salt in the water, and then remineralize your cells with the Remag and Remite. And constantly people are, as I said, writing to us and telling us how beneficial those very simple steps are. I mean, you have to drink something, so just drink your water with sea salt and throw the liquid Remag and Remite into the water. And our flavored Remag, the formula has been tweaked, so it's not as strong. If people tried our old flavored Remag, you'll be happy with the new version. Correct, Ginny? Am I right on that? Ginny is
sorry, I was on
multitasking.
mute. No, but yes, no, you're very accurate about that. That's a very accurate statement. Yes, the flavored Remag that came out. First version had a little bit of a bitter thing, but this next one is super scrummy. Good. So this one, everything needs to be tweaked in this life, and you know we were happy with the way customers responded to the very strong flavored Remag, and you're going to be even happier with this one. So what you're doing is with flavored Remag and the Remite and the sea salt, putting it all in your quart of water and sipping it through the day, and it's going to be tasty for you, and it's easy just to drink pumped up water. What do we call it? Tweaked water, which has all your minerals. So that's the gist of that blog. And actually, there was another. The Ultimate Waistline Makeover was the previous blog from last Thursday. And this, you know, when I do a little bit of research for these blogs, I always come up with something really fascinating. They're not talking so much about exact weight in terms of overweight and obese. You have to match it to your height. And I included a BMI, body mass index calculator, on the blog. Go to drcarolyndean.com, the Thursday, December 3rd blog, and click on it and put in your numbers and find out what your body mass index is. And you know what is scary in our population right now is 70% of us are overweight, and we think we're healthy. Now, right this second, looking at 70% and knowing that magnesium deficiency is about 80%, you know, just look at the near match of those statistics is you know, part of our weight gain just simply a magnesium and mineral deficiency? And I would say yes, because we have had people telling us when they get on the Completement formulas, they do lose weight, and they do have their energy, they sleep better, so they're able to exercise more. So all that works together. And I think it's important if that people look at this blog and just sort of get a sense that it's not entirely just your willpower and you can't stay away from food. There's so many aspects. I should actually get a new file folder on my Organized Wisdom Health Library that's for weight issues, because
I know I've done many, many summits on weight. Some of them I talk about yeast overgrowth. That can cause weight gain. This one I'm talking about just not getting your nutrients from your diet because the minerals aren't in the soil. I'm doing the taping of another weight seminar this Thursday. Yes, on Thursday. And I want to go into the total biology of weight gain. And, that comes from a person feeling abandoned. And in order to feel, bigger, more powerful, and more resilient, they gain weight because of their abandonment. So that's going to be a very interesting interview to do and to hear. And, yes, the one before that was the day before our last Monday radio show about pain. So, yes, those...
Hey, Carolyn?
Yes, Bob?
Did you say you have friends or colleagues who are pining to get on these summits? To be a guest?
Yeah, they'll say, gosh, I see you're on all these summits. How do I get an invite?
Right, and they're not getting invited.
Correct.
So you are, again, every field you go into, you're always the top person. You're on the most?
Well, I don't know that for sure, but certainly this person seemed to think so. And, when people call me for summits now, they say, well, I see you're on a lot of summits, so if you're on a lot of summits, you must be good, so I want you too.
Right. So that's interesting. Are you aware of anything on that, Ginny? What feed forward have you got on that? Carolyn's summit profile.
Well, I think it's pretty prolific because we get a lot of requests. I don't know that she does all the requests that we get because some of them probably, I don't know the audience size and things, but Carolyn is very well sought after, absolutely.
And all these summits, all 14, are on one of our websites, right? On Carolyn's scene, you can look at this stuff.
Well, Organized Wisdom gathers them. I don't have all the clips from them yet. One of the, requirements or one of the benefits, the benefits of doing the summits is the host will tell me that they'll send me the video or audio, and I can use it however I want, and I just pretty much put it on my health library, or I'll blog it and put it on my health library. So I'll gather those up. Like I said, I think I should, either I should or I will or I do have a summit file, and I'm also going to make a weight file.
So, Ginny, you're taking some of these and putting them on Dr. Dean Live or whatever.
The Organized Wisdom site is where all Carolyn summits are. We have one or two on the blog. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you link to it on Dr. Dean Live. You link to the Organized Wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Carolyn, is there someone you notice does get a lot?
No, Bob, I don't, and I'm tired of this discussion, and I want to move on to people who have better questions.
Well, I'll try to bring back this topic later when you least suspect it.
Sure. Yeah. When you're tucking me into bed at night,
I'll find out, Ginny. I'll get to the bottom of this.
And I'll say, shut the windows, Bob, so we can discuss this in loud voices. Okay, over to you, Ginny.
All right, very good. Okay, and Carolyn, did you, I want to take a minute because this is impromptu, but I'd like you to take a minute and talk about ciprotoxicity because in the last 4 or 5 days, we've gotten so many emails through customer service about people struggling with ciprotoxicity. Now, I know that you've done, we did a previous show that was devoted to it, but I'm wondering if you have any updates. I don't know, maybe because it's the flu season, people are in there getting antibiotics, and they're having problems already, So can you talk a little bit about what it is and what your suggestions are for dealing with it?
Yes, there's an evolution there. I just Googled myself and Cipro and magnesium, and back June 2011, So that's 4 years ago. I wrote about the fluoroquinolones, the fluoride compounds that Ginny's talking about, this cipro. It has a fluoride molecule attached to it, and it turns out that cipro causes tendon rupture. And so what I began to realize about cipro and probably all the other fluoride drugs was that fluoride binds with magnesium and makes the magnesium unavailable to the body. And that can be the fluoride in drinking water, in dental products, everywhere. So I think what's happened most recently about cipro, Ginny, is the FDA just had a big meeting about it and put another black box warning on cipro, saying that it was dangerous. They've got all these reports about tendon rupture, which, seriously, I mean, if you rupture your Achilles tendon, that's it. I mean, you need surgery, you need plastic surgery. It ruins a person's mobility. A lot of young people are taking cipro, a lot of athletes, and I say that because that's the people that I seem to hear from. And the setup is that the athletes are sweating out their magnesium. They get a cold or a flu. They have to do, they're busy people. They don't want to miss their either their training or some event. So they go to the doctor. The doctor gives them cipro. And because of their already tenuous magnesium storage, the magnesium gets bound up and they start having aches and pains. And what you can envision happening if you know that magnesium, it prevents the calcium from putting muscles into a constant contraction. So calcium contracts muscles and magnesium relaxes muscles. It's just the physiology. That's what's happening at the cellular level. You can go to nutritionalmagnesium.org, our nonprofit magnesium educational site, and see a video that Andrea Rosenoff did on calcium and magnesium showing exactly that. The cell allows some molecules of calcium to go inside the cell, and then the cell contracts or does its job, its physiologic job. If it's a muscle cell, the calcium makes it contract. If it's a nerve cell, the calcium makes the nerve fire. And so the contraction won't be sustained, and so the nerve firing won't be sustained. Then magnesium opens up the cell and pushes calcium out. If you don't have magnesium, then the cell keeps contracting or firing. So in a magnesium deficiency potentially caused by the cipro, then your muscles are constantly firing. They get very tense, and they just go into spasm, and they can get into such strong spasms they cause tendon rupture. I mean, it's horrific. And what I've heard from researchers, because I'm not a researcher. I'm just kind of an interested. What am I? I'm an investigator, but bench researchers, they've said to me, well, in the test tube, we'll put the cipro and we'll put cells, and the fluoride does not break down off the cipro. So they're just putting cipro in some sort of weak solution, maybe just saline, and say, oh, no, cipro's fine in there. They are not taking into consideration, which one researcher told me, that, you have trillions of organisms in your gut, and those organisms love to play with chemicals and foods and whatever, and those organisms can and do break down drugs all the time. So you've got a intestinal flora that's all out of whack anyway, with all this leaky gut and dysfunctional biome, bacterial and yeast biome. And these organisms are playing with the drugs, and they will break the fluoride off the drug, put fluoride in your body, and then it'll bind with magnesium. So that's what's happening with Cipro. There's new FDA warning. People are alerted to it. I think more and more people are Googling everything that they do and take now, and they're finding these things out pretty quickly. We hear that all the time. I Googled heart, chest pain, and magnesium, and your name came up. Or I Googled Cipro, and your name came up. And I'm not a Cipro expert, and, in the beginning I didn't know all these facts that I've just shared with you, but it's becoming more and more clear that Cipro, on the heels of a magnesium deficiency that already exists, is going to cause people real problems. And, I know if people can take the Mailbag immediately, within days of starting to get pain with Cipro, then they do recover. I also know that it can be accumulative. People have had Cipro a couple times in the past, and then they'll take one more prescription, and then all of a sudden they have the pain. So, they may say, well, I've taken it okay in the past, it should be okay now. But these things accumulate. And actually, the other thing that I should mention about the magnesium and fluoride is that it makes a compound, a brittle compound. It's called, it sounds like one of my patent pending Cellate, but it's SELL. Let me look it up. Cellate, magnesium fluoride. It's a brittle compound that will precipitate or deposit in bone and tendons and cartilage. So you've got this brittle substance that goes right where you don't want it to go. And then it's the brittleness of that region around the tendon that puts it at risk for the tendon rupture. Isn't that crazy? Here's the Cellate, SELLAITE, MGF2, an insoluble and brittle compound. So being insoluble, it can't get out. You cannot urinate this stuff away. It replaces magnesium in bone and cartilage, making bone prone to fracture and cartilage and tendon prone to rupture. So
and how does that happen if you're taking, I don't understand I'm sorry, that happens if you're taking Cipro?
If you take Cipro, because Cipro has a fluoride molecule attached to it, and the fluoride is broken off by the gut bacteria.
Right,
that Cipro is in your body, and I guess, in order to get it out of get rid of it, bind it up, the magnesium comes along and binds it up, but it ends up being insoluble and deposits where we don't want it to be. Wow. And there's Cipro, and I'm just looking up PowerPoint that I've done. Maybe I can send you this PowerPoint because I have a section on Cipro. And Prozac has 3 fluoride molecules. The Cipro I was talking about only has 1, and it's causing tendon rupture. Prozac has 3. Paxil, another antidepressant, has 1. Lipitor, the cholesterol inhibitor, has 1. And what are the side effects of these cholesterol inhibitors? Muscle cramps, pain, stiffness, swelling, rhabdomyolysis, which is muscle inflammation, and necrosis. So it goes for the muscles with the Lipitor, and tachycardia, all of them magnesium deficiency symptoms. And I've talked before about flecainide or flecainide. It's an antiarrhythmia drug, supposedly to stop irregular fast heartbeat. It's got 6 fluoride molecules. So its side effects are what? Fast, irregular, pounding or racing heartbeat or pulse, shortness of breath, nerve burning, crawling, itching, numbness, prickling, pins and needles or tingling feelings, and chest pain. And that's a drug that's supposed to help your heart. I mean, that's why people are flocking to REMAG, because they'll take these drugs and feel worse and say, man, there's got to be something better. The desflurane or desflurane is an inhaled anesthetic. It's got 6 fluoride molecules. Its side effects are hypertension, arrhythmia, tachycardia. And over the years, I've had many people who've said to me, you know, I had such and such surgery and I've never felt well. And all their symptoms are magnesium deficiency, and they don't know what's going on. And then we may never know what their inhaled anesthetic was, but it kind of gives people a little bit of a reason for what happened to them when I say, well, you know, the inhaled anesthetic may have robbed you of magnesium and you've never recovered from that. And get this, the antacid Prevacid has 3 fluoride molecules, and its side effects are muscle spasm, joint pain, cramps, fibromyalgia, and back pain. And the FDA recently put a warning on the proton pump inhibitors like Prevacid and said they may cause low serum magnesium levels. So that's the one drug they finally agreed causes low levels, but, you know, they're not looking at the others. Diflucan, which is an antifungal that they give to children, ADHD and autistic children, and it has 2 fluoride molecules. So, you know, you're trying to treat a yeast overgrowth condition, and you give a person magnesium deficiency at a time when they absolutely need their magnesium to help detoxify yeast byproducts. Celebrex for arthritis has 3 fluoride molecules, and its side effects are increased risk of heart attack, muscle aches and pains, nerve pain, sensation of pins and needles, and a stiff neck. And it was taken off the market for a time and then put back on. And, you know, I think it's still being sold. You know, maybe it has a black box warning, but doctors they don't read anything. They just get samples from the drug reps and think, okay, you know, a lot of people are using these. I might as well too. But anyway, 2 more, Flonase, a nasal spray, has 3 fluoride molecules. So you're spraying Flonase fluoride right into your brain, and its side effects are muscle weakness and wasting and bone fracture and high blood pressure. So every side effect I'm listing here is related to magnesium deficiency. And I think this is my last drug, Advar, asthma inhaler, 3 fluoride molecules, side effects, headaches, yeast infections, musculoskeletal pain. So I have shocked Ginny. I know I have
Carolyn,
shocked you.
If more and more people understood this, there could be a class action suit prompted?
Yeah, I mean, probably, but, you know, that really hardly ever gets anywhere. It might take it off the market, but...
No, in general, can people start getting outraged about the missing knowledge of magnesium?
I don't know about magnesium. No, they'd never do. But Cipro lawsuits, I just looked it up, and, you know, there are class actions. You know, there's a lot going on. But look at this. I mean, they'll do settlements. They'll settle $1 million lawsuits, and even billion-dollar lawsuits, but, when they're making $100 billion off a drug, the lawsuits are just part of the, part of doing business.
But it's like this smoking gun factor about magnesium that you're noticing. What if more people found out about that? Could they start saying we've been mal-educated, the people have been misinformed by the doctors, and do some major revolution or court action? You don't think that'll happen?
Of course not.
Why not?
Because people don't have the time or energy. They're
all magnesium deficient.
Yeah, they're happy enough to have found out about REMAG, and most of them are out there, beating the bushes with their friends and family. And that's all we require. There's going to be no big movement. If you're a big movement and you're on the leading edge or the bleeding edge of that, then that's not going to get you anywhere but too much attention. So we're doing just fine, Bob. You just go back.
So you're a whistleblower. You're a whistleblower.
No, all I am is I'm just a little tiny little tweet. I'm a little tweeter.
Ion doesn't say that.
I'm a tweeter.
You're David, and you're going to knock off Goliath.
No.
Ginny knows it.
Nope. I'm not going to get myself. See, I did that, Ginny, a little bit in health freedom movement.
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Right.
And that didn't get anywhere really. Some people were helped, but I could see the writing on the wall, and that's why, thankfully, I didn't burn myself out by beating against Goliath. I'm circumventing Goliath and making the minerals accessible to people so that they can get strong. Okay, Bob, mute yourself.
Speaking of what you said, Carolyn, which, by the way, thank you for laying that all out. That's fantastic, and I will provide that for people who are emailing in now about this whole thing. I'm experiencing ciprotoxicity, and we know that the opportunity for REMAG and REMITE and the drops and realign and everything is to go in and help people with that. Now, we've got several really compelling testimonials about folks who've gotten a lot of relief from ciprotoxicity and cipro poisoning using the protocol. So if anybody's listening to this in the archive and they need more information, you just have to email support, SUPPORT, at rnareset.com, and we will give you the information about the protocol that you can use and how to get your products and things so you can get going on that. Also, Carolyn, I wanted to let you know that Michael, our friend Michael Kulikowski in New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay, speaking of beating the bushes, well, this gal called me tonight, and she is a friend of Michael's. Now, speaking of beating the bushes, like I said, Michael, I don't know how many people he's got on the formula. He's got so many people, probably half the state of New Jersey. He is such an advocate, and so anyway, he talked to this gal who was experiencing these difficulties with her brain function. She has a nonverbal kind of adult autism, mild but nevertheless very intrusive and irritating to her. And so he's like, this would really help your brain. This would help your brain. You'd create new perfect cells, this and that. So she started on the RNA drops. She's gone through 2 bottles so far, 2 regular-sized bottles. And not only is her brain function totally improving, and she's finally been able to get and hold down a job that she has not been able to do in her whole adult life, but she also is had a toe fungus, like from, say, Candida, and the toe fungus is totally gone.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
Is she on is she on the other formulas besides the RNA drops?
Nope. She's just doing the drops. Well, she just ordered the REMAG. Just got REMAG, but This is all just doing the drops, and her brain has totally straightened itself out. She feels amazing, and she's just chugging along with her. She's doing 10 drops a day, and she's got, and again, this thing about this toe fungus, she's just like, you have to tell Dr. Dean on the radio show tonight, this stuff really works. Isn't that awesome?
Oh, that's amazing. It is, and it makes me think of all these anti-grain people where they're saying, grains are killing us and stop eating all grains, and, the fanaticism that I don't like to see in the health world where all of a sudden grain is horrific. Well, our RNA drops are sprouted barley grain, for Pete's sakes. It's non-gluten, of course, by the sprouting process, but it just shows you that you can't be fanatic, and as Michael is doing with his advocacy work, you just get people to try something and see if it works for them. I don't know if she started with the sample bottle and then just like the scent of it, but that's all you have to do is get the sample bottle, try it out, see if you just love taking it, and just keep taking it. And I mean, that is an incredible testimonial. That's just amazing.
Very cool. Yes, and it's great because, as you said, Carolyn, I mean, one of the things that the RNA drops do talk about in the patent, which is still pending, is that they do help the cells absorb food more perfectly. And so people are able to work better with their food that goes through the lipid system. There's an improved enhancement of the lipid system and the function thereof, and there's all kinds of untold and unexpected benefits when you're using the drops. So, but we have great customers, and like you said, instead of going out and beating your head up against the wall with Goliath and trying to make it do something, why not just do what our customers are doing, which is run around, tell your friends, and just help out the people that are in your world if they're so inclined.
Right. Yeah, it's really grassroots movement and showing by example, and all the basic good things that we know about, because you really do burn yourself out when you try to go up against City Hall or the government or whatever, because they have other agendas. They're not that interested in helping and healing, because they run on such a commercial economy that we have no idea what their agenda is. So you just don't bother with it. You don't get involved.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we know what our agenda is here, and our agenda is here to put as many people as want to be in contact with Dr. Dean for this meager 2 hours on Monday evening. I think she could probably be doing a radio show 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the amount of questions that we have and the amount of people who are interested in really getting practical, real information and practical, real formulas that are going to make a significant difference in their health. So let's just go over the ground rules of how you can talk to Dr. Dean tonight, especially for our new listeners, which we always have every week. If you want to talk to Carolyn, the 602-666-6027 is the phone number. If you've already called in and you're on the phone and you want to speak to her now, you have to hit *5. That's *5 on your keypad. That will raise your hand in the studio and let me know that you have a question or comment, and I will put you on the phone with her in the order that your call comes in. Again, I see some hands going up. So again, *5 on your keypad will put you on the phone with Dr. Dean in the order that the calls come in. If you're listening through your computer or on YouTube and you want to send a quick text message into the studio, then that mechanism is to go to either the public chat room or an in-quick messaging system like our friend Susan in Asheville did. And I'm going to read this to you real quick, Carolyn, and then we'll take some phone calls. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Okay. Susan in Asheville, North Carolina said, Dr. Dean, you might want to mention that Request a Test has a 13% discount on any lab tests for the month of December if you enter the code ANNIV13 for their 13th anniversary. This is a good time to check up on your magnesium RBC if you want to. And by the way, Carolyn, what do you think about checking the iodine level per Dr. Brownstein or fasting insulin per Dr. Mercola to check for insulin resistance? Thank you.
That's great. I mean, I don't really follow Request a Test, but that's their price is already so low anyway, $49, which is less than a copay. I noticed Kaiser just put up their copay from $50 to $75 just to walk in the office. So that's great. Checking iodine levels. When I used to do that, the 24-hour iodine test after taking some ioderol, everybody had low iodine. But, you know, I wasn't, for a while I was telling people to take Lugols or take the 12.5 milligrams of ioderol, but I pulled back on that pretty quickly. I think your body can get overloaded with iodine. So I just designed the Remite with the RDA of iodine so that people could slowly and naturally build up their iodine instead of treating iodine like a medicinal. And since I know everybody's low on iodine, I just say, okay, take your daily iodine and you'll be fine. So I don't check for iodine. Kind of similarly for fasting insulin levels, yes. You know, people who are low in magnesium, they do get insulin resistance. So I'd rather treat the insulin resistance than wasting money testing it. So I'm not big on testing. I think you know, there can be errors in testing as well that you know, kind of upset people. You know, they'll get a test result, send it to me, and I'll say, well, that's an error. You have to repeat it. So it just doubles your cost. But you know, that's where I've gotten after, you know, 40 years of doing this. But if people want to test, it's definitely up to them.
Very good. Yes, very good. That's a perfect way to say it too, Carolyn, because after 40 years, you're probably a little jaded, like, yeah, don't bother. But some people, you know, really require the they require the reinforcement or whatever. So that's a very good way to say it. Okay.
Yeah, the validation. Yes. And, you know, when you look at levels, think of what we say about the magnesium, why we use a magnesium RBC, and then you get the range of 4.2 to 6.8, and then realize, oh, well, 80% of the population is reflected in that test, so that means the levels are wrong, and that's where we say to be up in the top 20% of that range. You know, you want to be 6.0 to 6.5, and then, you know, I'll get people emailing me, well, how did you come, you know, to that? How do you know to tell people to be 6.0? And it's all clinical. This is observation. This is doctoring. This is not waiting for someone to do some scientific test on a test that is not highly accurate and does not reflect a healthy population and does not tell you how to stay well. I mean, the level of assumption in the testing system is so far off that, again, that's a big reason why I just don't want to get involved.
Very good. Very good. All right, we're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Achieve Radio. Let's go to the phones again. 602-666-6027 is the phone number, and we'll put you online with Dr. Dean in the order that your call came in this evening. Hit *5 on your keypad if you have a question or comment, and the first thing that we're going to do is go to area code 614, the great state of Ohio. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
My name is Matt.
Go ahead, please, love.
Sir.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is
What's your name?
Knives.
Cy?
Knives,
Spell it?
as in stabba.
Knives. Okay. So you've called before, haven't you?
I was talking to your husband several weeks ago on his show.
Okay, good. We're here. We're listening. What question do you have for me?
I kind of had a harrowing experience with the RNA drops. I started taking them at the end of 2010, only for about a month or so. Didn't really feel anything, but afterwards I noticed I cut back on my drinking and started changing my eating habits, and I did this effortlessly. Anyway, the next spring I decided to start buying them again with the stuff that comes with it.
Realign?
Thank you.
Or the Remag, the Realign?
Well, the Realign, you were doing like a package deal for a while. So I started taking it then, and I got up to 15 drops a day with a little bit more at the end of each month to finish off what drops I had left. And I started feeling really, really good, exceptionally good, psychologically especially. But then, a bunch of emotional stress kind of came my way, and everything kind of went the opposite way. And I ended up losing my job because I worked around chemicals, and they were really bothering me. So I had to kind of cut it out. And I kind of went on and off the RNA drops.
Because you couldn't afford them anymore?
Well, that, and then it's like I said, I was having these kind of severe reactions. I started having gastric episodes, headaches.
And are you telling me you're blaming the drops for your emotional stress and losing your job?
Oh, no, that's not what I was saying. I was just saying that that's what happened and why I quit doing the drops. I was thinking about starting back up again.
Right.
So I was, this is the last 3 years or so, I've been up and down dealing with allopathic medicine, trying to figure out what exactly is going on with me. And it hasn't been much help at all. So I figured I'd just go ahead and give them a chance again. However, I did try to start up again, and I just started kind of getting pain in my midsection, and like I said, headaches started coming back again. I don't know if any of us ever had those kind of symptoms along with them before. Is there a protocol?
What I'm thinking of, the way you're describing it and all, what can happen is with the drops, if you've got, I would think there's some aspect of leaky gut or yeast overgrowth going on, and if you don't address that and then, kind of look at the drops as well, I'll take the drops and they'll take care of everything. But what the drops can do is sometimes it might be, in your case, kind of magnify what is, what already is going on. So it's a matter of looking at your diet, taking away the gluten and the dairy and the sugars, the whole yeast protocol to see if that helps. Have you done any of that in all your allopathic investigations?
No. All I got from allopathic medicine was a substantial amount of debt and a lot of radiation. So they didn't really help out too much at all.
But did they tell you don't have ulcers or colitis or cancer?
Yeah,
did they give you?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything life-threatening wrong with me. My up one way and down the other seems pretty clear. My organs all seem to be working at least decently.
Right. And, with the history of chemicals, too, the chemicals can be harbored in fat cells or in tissue cells for a long time. And I know with the RNA drops and the REMAG, as you're making perfect cells, your old toxic cells are dumped, and you can have that type of Herxheimer or die-off. So I think it's a matter of just looking at the drops and the other complement formulas in a different fashion, and just say, okay, allopathic medicine says that I don't have anything horrible, so that means it's my diet, it's my lifestyle, it's my attitude. So those are the things that are under my control, and I can do something about them. And I want you to say, I'm not going to look at the complement formulas as a medication to medicate away my lifestyle, my diet, and my attitude. I'm going to look at my lifestyle, diet, and attitude and do what I think is best. You're an intelligent person, so look at the yeast overgrowth that I talk about a lot, and go off gluten and dairy and sugar and see if that helps your gut. So what I'm saying is, yes, the RNA drops can kind of highlight, identify, mirror what your body doesn't want you to be doing, bring it to your attention so you'll do something about it, and not blame the RNA drops, but just say, okay, then when I took the RNA drops, this came to the surface. What's causing that? And look at, like I said 3 times now, diet, lifestyle, and attitude. Does that make sense, Knives?
Sure. It's like they can act as kind of a perceptual tool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
well, thank you very much.
Okay, good. And there are lots of resources. You can go to the RNAreset.com under blog radio, and in the search button, type in yeast and look at the treatment protocol there. I think that's the first place.
Okay, I want to correct Knives' chronology. The drops were not available till the spring of 2011. You couldn't have taken it in late 2010. Carol and I were the only ones doing it. That's when we got it, November 2020. So maybe you're talking the end of 2011, and then in the spring of 2012 you took them. All right, so you took them in the spring of 2012. Right, so it's 3.5 years ago you started.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you, Bob. On the ball, as usual.
Okay, good.
Okay, thanks, Knives. Onward and upward, okay?
Okay.
Very good, very good. All right, very good. Let's go to area code 919, and we're coming to the top of the hour, Carolyn, about 4 minutes left, but we can get started with our good friend in North Carolina, area code 919. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Dr. Dean, it's Roman. Nice to
hi, Roman.
Again. I hope everything is well with you guys.
Oh, yeah, doing great, just fabulous. Thanks, Roman. And you're come with an update for us?
Yes, ma'am. I'm ever getting better. Still peeling away at that onion. Of getting better, but I am doing significantly better. The main thing I'm dealing with now, I added two things to my regimen of what I'm doing. I took your advice with the yeast overgrowth, and I've been attacking that. If that might be a possibility with my diet. And your suggestion about with the full stomach, I wait and drink my water, after about an hour after I've eaten, and all of those things have helped. And I'm taking some enzymes, with my food. And I also another thing that I tried was I'm taking ubiquinol, and it's got PQQ with it, and that has been somewhat helpful. And I'm also taking a homeopathic thing, which is magnesia phosphoria or something like that I put under my tongue. Yes, ma'am. So those are the major things. The only distressing thing that I'm dealing with, the AFib, the duration is getting shorter, and now I can actually walk around and continue. I'm not totally disabled on the bed with it now. And sometimes I don't notice that it's going on. And, of course, I'm continuing with the Remag and the Remite and the Realign. The only thing that is kind of scary to me right now is sometimes I will awake in the night, and I notice that my resting pulse is a little high. And when I raise up out of the bed, it just goes up to like 150, or it's like a burst of tachycardia. And I've got the Remag by my bed, and I put a half a capful in a glass of water, and I drink it, and the rhythm resolves in probably 30 to 60 seconds. Sometimes it's a little longer, and it will go back down, and I don't have any more problems. And it's really perplexing because I'm really watching my MSG. I try not to eat. It's a nightmare when I'm working on the road and I have to eat out because I have them. I ask them not to put seasonings on my meat or anything that I get. But
okay, let me interrupt, Roman. Let's get to the the bottom of this. Now, folks may recognize your voice. You've had, the AFib, and you had the depersonalization. Now,
Carolyn. We're going to a break. Let's just wrap this at this. We'll bring it over in the next top of the hour, okay? We'll be right back, everybody. Hang on to Roman.
Okay.
AchieveRadio.com. You humans, you are marvelous creators. Marvelous creators. Every time they try to hem you up into a situation or a place of knowing that they are going to deplete you, they're going to eradicate you, they're going to move you into a non-existent being, it's amazing. The non-physical part, the pure positive source energy, love, is in each individual human. And in that human being, you have a resonance. You are the creator. You create everything in your world. There is nothing in your experience that you do not personally have responsible creativity charge of.
Fear is fear. How do you know that you have fear? How do you know you're afraid of something? And if you are, how do you overcome that? By facing it, giving it attention. Put the spotlight on it. And then all of a sudden, the magic trick's not so magic anymore, is it?
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
We return now live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with your host, Ginny Gunther, here on AchieveRadio.com. Skype us at ar.call.in. That's ar.call.in.
Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, bringing back our good friend Roman and also Dr. Dean in the middle of a conversation. Go ahead, please, you guys.
Okay, I'm still here.
All right, and Carolyn?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Roman, you said you came to us first with the AFib and the depersonalization. Now, I'm wondering, do you think when you wake up in the middle of the night that there's kind of a disorientation that you experience that may be perpetuating this increased pulse rate? Roman?
Roman? Yes, Roman? Can you hear me?
He was there.
Hey,
yes,
he's there.
You're just there. There.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're kind of breaking up, Roman.
Can you hear me now?
Are you on the road? Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Yes, with continuing with my treatment, I'm beginning to feel more and more here and more, significantly. And I think sometimes I get scared that I'm feeling more here because since I was 18, I've been depersonalized, and it's kind of a weird thing all of a sudden kind of waking up, and it hasn't come all the way, but there are some times that I come all the way back. It's been really remarkable. But that might be, I'm not totally sure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what strikes me is, like you say, person depersonalizes to bury fears and, strong emotions. So as you lose that protection, then some of that will come up to the surface. So are you in group therapy, or do you see someone that you can talk to so that you can, work on this a little bit?
No, ma'am, not right now. I haven't. I've just kind of kept it to myself, but there has been an increase in anxiety just because I am feeling more real, and that protection mechanism of the brain was nice when I guess it kind of held me together for all these years, but it's going away, and you're right. I need to adjust because it is very. Working and actually being there and feeling my body. And then when I have these little bit of arrhythmias I'm having now, it's a little more scary because I'm actually here, if that makes any sense to you. I know it's kind of weird. But
yeah. Oh, no, it's exactly what's happening, and if what I would recommend, I mean, I can't do much from such a distance, but there are flower remedies, the Bach flower remedies, BACH.
I'm doing that. Yeah, I read that in your book, and I'm doing that. Yes, ma'am. I just started it.
Okay, so that's a help, and even just to talk to some sort of counselor who understands depersonalization and can help you come back into the real world. Someone who'll just say, "Oh yeah, that's natural. What you're going through is natural. It doesn't feel natural. It feels horrible. You hate it." You'd rather be in the real world than shutting down. So that's, the time when you take your aspen and mimulus, Bach homeopathic flowers, and like you do when your heart rate races, you take some more Mailbag. And, it's like I tell people about their magnesium deficiency, their body is waking up, and you really do go through a bit of a shake-up when you're waking your body up, and that's what you're doing now with your depersonalization. And I think it's fantastic. I think you're doing such an incredible job, and I appreciate you calling up and keeping us posted on what's happening.
Yeah, no matter how scary it gets, I stay on the course because, you know, like you always say, there's a couple of good days, and then there will be run of a couple of bad days as my body is kind of getting out of what I've been in for, you know, since I was 18. But the times that I really feel good, it's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm before I ever got sick. And it's just like a miracle. I never thought that I would ever get out of that constant state of depersonalization. But it is scary. And I had one other quick question.
And let me interrupt you again. Let me interrupt you again, Roman. Are you 50 now? Did you tell us before?
51. I just had a birthday last month.
Happy birthday. I interrupted. Go ahead.
The one other thing that scares me sometimes, I hardly ever have these. Sometimes I will have a run of PVCs, several in a row with no regular heartbeat. And that kind of worries me because I feel faint and I feel short of breath. And then I will just pop back in rhythm. And I know that's related to the magnesium deficiency, but it goes through my mind when I self-talk myself and I go, you don't need to be afraid of this. You're going to be fine. And then I think, well, is it ventricular tachycardia? And that's the only thing that scares me. If I've got the tools to talk to myself, you know, when I'm in those rhythms, it really, you know, I do a lot of self-talking to myself when I'm in those weird rhythms, and it's scary. So,
well, the thing of it is, what I'd say, Roman, is at this point you're on enough magnesium that. You know, those pacemakers in your heart that, you know, will twinge a little bit and go into a few supraventricular beats, they're not going to go into a long tachycardia. You're way beyond that. You know, you're just so much healthier than that, and you've got enough magnesium that's not going to happen. So that's what you can add to your self-talk. It's just not going to happen.
Okay. And I wanted to say one thing in closing. I went to go see my cardiologist. I was supposed to have an ablation in August, and I canceled it. And he took a picture of my Remag bottle. I took all of my Realign, my Remag, my Remite. I took it all. And he told me, he says, you know, you look so much better. He actually told me this. He said, I didn't want you exercising or doing anything when I first saw you. He said, you have made such an improvement. He said, I want to show this to maybe offer this to some of my patients. And he took a picture of the Remag and and my Sotalol that I was on, I was taking a half of a 80 milligram tablet. Now I'm taking a half of a half. And I don't need, and I'm hoping, and he was shocked at that, and just my general look. He was like, you look totally, he said, you look like death when you first came to me. And he said, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. And I pulled my Remag bottle out and told him all about you and the book. And I was just really, it was really a blessing for him to notice that I was in such better condition. He said my heart is doing a lot better. So I told him, it's the Remag.
Yeah, and it's good validation for you, too, that you don't have to fight him now to do what you know is working. He's supporting you. So that's really fantastic. And that's, you know, that's more self-talk for you, that your doctor even thinks you're on the right track.
Yes, ma'am, he does. And that made me feel really well. But when I go through the storms, you got to go through the storms to get to the rainbow. I just self-talk, and I go, Dr. Dean, my cardiologist, I'm going to be fine. And I'm getting an upper hand on this thing, but it takes time. It's not it's definitely not something that happens overnight, but it does. I mean, every month I make huge progress. But thank you so much, Dr. Dean, for your time.
You're so welcome. And, everybody's different. And, some people get frustrated when I'll give the testimonials where, in a month someone was, 100% cured. But we've got folks like you who've had magnesium deficiency probably since birth. So you've got 50 years of work to do, and you're doing it. And, I'm really proud of you. I think you're doing great. And like I said, I appreciate you calling in. Okay, Robin?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, and I'll give you another update in a couple of weeks or so.
Okay. Look forward to it. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Very good. Carolyn, I just wanted to add to Roman that, when you get scared, Roman, and you feel like something's not going very well for you, we have a 24-hour radio stream of Carolyn's radio show here at Studio D at achieveradio.com. And I've had several customers, Carolyn, tell me that they keep that playing in the background, especially when they're going through some kind of really extreme situation like trying to get through the ciprotoxicity or dealing with AFib. They just run the Studio D 24 hours a day, just keep it in, and just keep allowing that to come in their minds, because the confidence that you have, the confidence that I have, Bob, about our products, what we know about the RNA drops and the different formulas is very infectious, and it helps the mind kind of calm down and not get so agitated.
That's great. Very good. Yeah, that's a far cry, a great leap forward from when I was in private practice, and I'd get people to buy little notebooks, and every time they had a visit, I'd write the notes on what they were, what to do, and they would refer to their notebooks. And now they can tune into a radio show. That's fantastic. Great idea, Jenny.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. So use that as a resource. Okay, so we're going to keep going in our live calls, again, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you're listening to the show, 602-666-6027. If you'd like to talk to Dr. Dean tonight, you have to call into the station, 602-666-6027, and then hit star 5 on your keypad. That raises your hand, and I will put you on the line with Dr. Dean in the order in which your call comes in. And right now, we're going to go to the great state of South Carolina, area code 803. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
If you can hear me, this is C. or Cheryl. Can you hear me?
Michelle, yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. What I'm trying to do is the doctor gave me, I don't know how you pronounce it, for blood pressure, and I don't want to take it. And I know I need to get my blood pressure down. As soon as I exercise for 30 minutes, my blood pressure comes way down. I know that I need to exercise more. What can I do? I already have your magnesium. I'm going to order some more. What else do I need to get to keep this blood pressure or help me get it down without taking this poison? I saw what it did to my mother. I don't want it done to me. I've cut out the fried food. I've cut out the caffeine.
Right. So intellectually you know what to do. I've got a lot of feedback on your end. Are you in a noisy place, Michelle?
Okay, sorry, I had it on speakerphone. Is that better?
Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Yes, much better, much better.
Okay.
So, yes, intellectually, you know about the exercise, you know about diet, but, you're still scared because there's a family history. Now, high blood pressure, it tends to be, when you look at the, what I look at is the total biology or the conflict that creates problems. And with high blood pressure, it's you trying to control something outside of your house that's difficult to control. Now, are you having problems at work or, with your children outside the house? Is there something that's stressing you that could be causing this?
Yes, I have a stressful job. And I lost my mom, 2 years ago, and I'm still dealing with that and some other things that was before that. So,
So what you have to say to yourself, it's if you heard Roman talking earlier, he does a lot of self-talk. And, with a stressful job, it's like I was saying earlier about fighting the system, fighting the doctors that are doing stupid things. That's not my job. But, I don't know, you accept what you can't fight, or you just, what would be the best way of saying it? Because I don't know anything about you except to say that you have to take care of yourself first. When you come against a situation that annoys you or bothers you, you can fight it or attack it or start getting mad or angry. But if you can't release that, like the quote I use is, being angry at someone else is like you taking poison and expecting the other guy to die.
Joyce Meyer says that, yes.
Oh, is that right? So it's that simple. There's something about the stress and grieving that tightens people up, and then this tightness, it translates into tightening up your blood pressure. It translates into burning off your magnesium, and actually, the grief link for people, you can work on that with two things. The link breaker in the Bach flower remedies is walnut. So you just look up BACH flowers. You can go to vitacost.com. I think they sell all the Bach flowers. Get walnut. And the affirmation with it is, I break all links that hinder my growth. And you take, 5-10 drops a couple times a day that help to break the links with the past. And there's a YouTube. Ginny probably has this lined up somewhere, and you can listen to this archive to make sure you get it all. But you go to YouTube and listen to a song called "Time to Say Goodbye." It's an Italian opera. It's sung in Italian, or you can find it in English, but it's time to say goodbye to your mom and, to the past, or, just say goodbye to people who are stressors in your life. Just, don't get involved with turf wars or anything. Just take care of yourself. And there's a third thing. It's an affirmation that we use in total biology. And Ginny will tell us where it is on the website, but here are the words. They are, I was a small property ravaged by a storm. The fine weather has returned. The forest and the river have become calm. The house is vibrant and shines in the sun. And above all, the field is returning to its order, health, and beauty. Thank you, my diseased and depleted organs, for I know you have done all this to save my whole being, and thanks to myself for doing my healing. So that can be something that can be an affirmation that you say when you feel and things building up, when your mind is going all into the negative.
Yes.
You can say that affirmation.
Yes,
and it's like we all get ravaged. What was that?
Oh, my.
What was that, Michelle?
ADD, I believe. I've read Dr. Amen's books. I love Dr. Amen as well as I love you. ADD, ADHD, dyslexia.
Oh, yeah.
I've not been diagnosed with it, but everything that I've read everything that I read. And my mom, just before she passed, she said I could never stand to swing. And the motion for people with ADD and ADHD, I did not know. I could not put it together when I was smaller. I couldn't stand for my sister to swing me. I couldn't stand it. And now I know.
Well, right, and that's okay to know it, and, it can help you what's happening, but then if you ask me, how do you treat that? You treat ADHD with magnesium and the complement formulas. So,
what formula?
don't think that you're stuck with it.
Right. And what else did you say that I need to treat it with? I had the magnesium. I'm going to go order some more of that too.
Well, our complement formulas are the RNA drops. You can get a sample bottle of that. It's only $15. The RNA drops help make perfect cells. They give a person a detachment from their stress. Some people in the beginning say they feel a bit of a bliss state. So this is what you're trying to achieve. You shouldn't be buffeted about by the storms. This is what the affirmation is saying, is we can go through storms, but it will get better. We have this phrase, the worst is over. And, that's what Ginny says when people reach our radio show and our products. They can say the worst is over. There's so many very common sense things that you can do. So I want you to, listen to the archive. We've talked for a few minutes about your situation. So re-listen to that, and you can call Ginny and find out if you need any more input. Okay, Michelle?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Yes, Ginny, I should just finish up with Michelle. Yes, the other complement formulas, the Remite helps support the other hormones. The Realign is a detoxifier. So if you can afford all the complement formulas, that would be helpful for you, Michelle. And also to put sea salt in your drinking water, and all that is explained in our Remag and Remite books, and they're free at rnareset.com under the info link.
Very good. Ginny. Okay, very good. And let me just also say, Carolyn, for people that's reminded me, we have our new help center up on our help link, on our info link. So when people click on the info, they're going to be able to go to our new help center, which is very robust with all kinds of great content and information. So when you go to our website, rnareset.com, you'll see info, contact, and that is going to bring you to the help center. There's all kinds of great information there. You can even submit a trouble ticket, and it will go straight into our help desk, and people will be able to get a more quick response. And also, on the blog, you'll see it says blog/radio, and that's where all these archives are of previous shows. So when Dr. Dean's saying listen to the archive, about 15 minutes after the show tonight, it'll be posted there, and everything that we've talked about here today is going to be in that archive. So the actual audio recording, and then all the affirmations, the small property affirmation, the Bach flower remedy information, all that will be on there. So you'll be able to look at that and have that as a resource.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, wonderful. Let's keep going with some phone calls. Let's go to the great state of Pennsylvania. And our good friend at area code 267, you're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hey, guys, it's Kendall. Hey, Dr. Dean. Hey, Jenny.
Hi, dear.
Hey, Kendall. What's up today?
Nothing. I'm just calling to ask a few questions. I I have been literally saturating myself with magnesium between taking baths in it for 20 minutes a day. I've been rubbing it all. I purchased the oil. I wanted to know what your opinion was on the Ancient Minerals brand. I purchased that, and I've been taking the Remite and the Remag with salt water. So symptomatically it comes and goes. Some days I won't have many, and then some days I'll have some. The twitching has not gone yet, though, but the PACs, because I have atrial contraction, the PACs are, they're bipolar. Like, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Today was a bad day. Yesterday was it was almost like you feel a couple of, it's like a creep up. But today was a bad day. But before that, I was fine. But the twitching has not yet ceased. So it kind of indicates to me that the problem is still.
Right, there is that. But Kendall, were you listening to me when I was talking just now to Michelle about the affirmation and about the song and the walnut? What do you think about doing that for yourself?
What, to calm myself down?
Yeah.
I think I already try to affirm things with myself. I think it must have gotten, my affirmations must have gotten better because I haven't been rushing back and forth to the hospital like I normally do. But, it's still, when it's late at night and everybody else is sleeping, you're up and that's happening. It's sometimes hard.
But
or when you're at work.
Hang on. I don't want you to keep repeating the horrible things. I know you have to call in. I know when you call in, you have to tell me what's going on. I know they're going on. I know they're not life-threatening. I know you're surviving. I know you're getting better. I know all that. And what I'm saying is I want you to say this particular affirmation about the small property ravaged by a storm, because that's what you're sounding like. There's this storm around me. It comes at me. What's going to happen to me? Am I going to survive? And then you say the words, the fine weather has returned. The forest and the river have become calm. The house is vibrant and shines in the sun. And above all, the field is returning to its order, health, and beauty. Thank you, my diseased and depleted organs, for I know you have done all this to save my whole being. And thanks to myself for doing my healing. Your body is helping you. When you get these, if you didn't have all the palpitations, you wouldn't have found magnesium. Right. So you've got to kind of thank your symptoms, instead of blaming them all the time. It's like, thank you, my depleted organs, for I know you have done all this to save my whole being. And thanks to myself for doing my healing. You took the bull by the horns, and you called in here. You've read all my books. You're taking the formulas, and you are improving. And it's just, it's just with the affirmation, I'm looking at it on a more emotional level, how to get at all the fear that is built up all these years of having these symptoms and not getting help. So that's what I'm saying today, is to add that particular affirmation. What do you think?
And where can I can do that. Where can I find it at again?
Well, I read it out.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you, Kendall. I'm going to.
Then the other thing is I'm sick. Yeah. And I'm hoping that they don't have to, but just in case I have to get like amoxicillin or anything, does amoxicillin deplete your magnesium?
Everything does, and you'll get yeast overgrowth. If you have a cold or flu, 99 times out of 100, it's a virus. And a virus does not respond to antibiotics. A bacterial infection is something where you've got green and yellow, horrible mucus that you cough out of your lungs. You have a fever. You have chills. You're in bed. You're not on the phone talking to me. You do not have a bacterial infection from what the sounds of it. So you just take a lot of vitamin C, you take a lot of chicken soup, you take a lot of garlic, and you just rest and don't even think about an antibiotic.
Okay. And then
the
other thing was,
clear?
Yep, very much so.
Kendall? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Hello?
Okay, what's it? Yeah, we're here.
Oh, and then hello? Dairy, I heard you talking to the other people on the phone about dairy. And so are you saying, like, dairy is not a good thing, like we shouldn't be eating it at all? I know calcium, you know, you have to be careful, but like what should a daily, you know, food table look like for me? Like, should I not have dairy at all? I'm kind of borderline gluten-free sometimes.
You got to stop. You got to stop. You ask me a question and then you give me a chance to answer it, okay? So the thing about dairy is past breastfeeding, most adults do not have the enzymes to digest dairy products. It gives you mucus. If you're eating dairy and you have a cold, then that's going to make your cold worse. What you can eat with dairy if you don't have a cold is a good plain yogurt or good plain unsweetened kefir. There are non-lactose cheeses that you can Google and look up and have a bit of cheese. And yes, that's the way that I tell people to get their calcium is through fermented dairy products. But yeah, you know, when you're looking at yeast overgrowth, Kendall, you've got gluten makes yeast worse, the sugar makes yeast worse, even too much fruit sugar, and non-fermented dairy makes yeast worse. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So yeah, if you know you're moving along and getting better, now you're asking questions about diet and yeast overgrowth. So that's a very good sign. That's excellent.
Well, thank you.
So I've given you a lot to think about today. So are you okay with that? Do you need me to yell at you anymore?
No.
Okay, so Ginny's going to send you the affirmation. You're going to, drink lots, take some vitamin C, eat garlic for your cold, and you're going to stop dairy products. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Good talking to you, Kendall. We'll talk to you again. You're very brave to keep phoning me back and let me yell at you. And I appreciate it. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, girl. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ginny.
Yep, we're here live with Dr. Carolyn Dean on achieveradio.com. Glad to have you back. Glad to have everybody here this evening. 602-666-6027 is the number to call if you want to talk with Dr. Dean this evening. 602-666-6027. And let's see, here we go. If you're on the line.
I got to do no more phone calls. No more phone calls. I got to get a mailbag in that I promised someone I'd do. So
okay.
I got to do that now. Okay?
Okay. Very good. Here we go.
Okay, so this is a woman writing first her testimonial and then a question about her husband, and I just thought it'd be very instructive. And she says, I purchased your Future Health Now Encyclopedia and the 2014 revised edition of Magnesium Miracle. My husband and I are reading both. We love them, and I've been taking Remag, Remite, Realign RNA drops for 6 weeks. She says, I was diagnosed with paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia and would have severe episodes that would last upwards of 15 hours. these episodes started about 4 years ago. It was about 2 years after my first episode before I had another big one. So she talks about having more frequent episodes, going off to the emergency department. They tried to give her very strong medications to force her heart back into sinus rhythm. They just offered the meds to take for the rest of her life and maybe an ablation procedure. They said they had no idea what was causing the tachycardia. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't drink. She doesn't even drink coffee. And then she says, I knew there was a root cause to it, and she was determined to find it. So she found the Magnesium Miracle and then the products and began to take them. She said, here we go. 3 days after starting the Remag and Remite, she said another episode began. She said, I was only taking small amounts at that point, so I took a quarter teaspoon of each in a cup of water and waited. The episode turned out to be very mild, and within 45 minutes to an hour it was completely over, and I wasn't drained of energy. And before she'd said it would last for 15 hours and she'd be wrecked for days. So she's now up to 2 teaspoons of Remag, 1 teaspoon of Remite in her water bottle. She sips it through the day. And if she forgets to drink her bottle, she might start having an episode, but she'll take the Remag and Remite, and within 45 minutes the episode is gone. So she said, it's clear to me that my symptoms are due to magnesium deficiency. And of course, she says, it boggles the mind why educated medical doctors can't figure that out, especially when it only took me, a layperson, a little research to find the answer. I have come to the conclusion that our current medical system has very little to offer me. So then she asks about her husband, age 70, 145 pounds. He had a quadruple bypass surgery this year. And she says, I sure do wish we had found you earlier. He may have been able to avoid the pain and suffering he went through with that procedure. And his history is of hypertension, type 2 diabetes, kidney stones, heart disease, and leaky gut. Hypertension, magnesium deficiency, type 2 diabetes, magnesium deficiency, kidney stones, magnesium deficiency, heart disease, magnesium deficiency, leaky gut, yeast overgrowth. He had a heart attack in April, and that resulted in the quadruple bypass. Before that, he'd had 8 years before a blocked artery, and they put in the stents. And she said, reading your book has shown us he has probably always been low in magnesium, which was why he has so many health issues, yes. Now, she says, we looked for a more natural approach to his health issues when he was released from hospital. For a while, we visited a local MD with a more natural approach, but the cost became prohibitive. He was taking over 100 nutritional supplements a day that cost over $1,000 a month, and that doesn't include the IV chelation therapy he was given every week. So he just refused to continue that. So she said she got My Future Health Now encyclopedia and started following protocols there. And at this point, he's been on the complement formulas, as I said, for 6 weeks, and he claims he feels better now at age 70 than he did when he was in his 30s. His color's great, he has incredible energy, and amazes everyone with how well he's doing. And she sent me a protocol, a list of supplements that she got from the Future Health Now encyclopedia. And, some of that was, I thought I updated it to the complement formulas, but I want to go over, kind of what I used to recommend and what people do recommend for heart disease. But at this point, his blood pressure is 128/80. His blood sugar is 100 to 120, and they'd like to lower that a bit. Energy level very high. His gut health, she says she thinks his leaky gut is better. He likes the fermented foods and drinks that his wife makes for him. And his kidney function has even improved on his last visit. So what they're on is the Remag 2 teaspoons a day, Remite half teaspoon 3 times a day, Realign twice a day, RNA drops, increasing that slowly, and they're on a multivitamin. Now, hopefully that's a food-based, grown by nature. I don't even know if people need a multi anymore, but what I basically do is send people to the Dr. Dean supplement recommendations, because basically with the Realign you're getting your B vitamins. If you make your own liposomal vitamin C, you're getting your vitamin C. They're taking the blue icer oil, which is your A, D, and K, and they're taking nattokinase. Now that I do talk about, that's your kind of natural blood thinner. They use it in Japan, and that's fine to take. It's not something you can take naturally, like with L-carnitine that they're taking. If you're eating animal protein, you are getting carnitine, and I don't know if there's a great need for carnitine on top of the complement formulas, your liposomal C, your B complex in your Realign. They're also taking flax oil. With flax oil, you have to keep it in the freezer. It'll stay liquid, but it won't go rancid. An opened flax oil will go rancid within a couple of weeks, and they're doing digestive enzymes with meals, and which is important. But the digestive enzymes I recommend are the Now brand super enzymes with hydrochloric acid, as well as pancreatic enzymes. The HCl hydrochloric acid is very important for digesting protein. And they're on their probiotics. RNA drops will give you probiotics, but also they're on kefir, beet kvass, kombucha, sauerkraut, coconut water kefir. That's fantastic. And doing what I recommend, the magnetic clay baths and foot baths at least 3 times a week, putting magnesium flakes in the bath. Infrared sauna for sweating detox, which is wonderful. So it's an exemplary protocol, and it's no wonder this gentleman is feeling better. I guess, grown by nature vitamin E you could add, with the history of the heart bypasses and everything. There's been some damage there. Most people with atrial fibrillation, it's not so much heart disease, it's just magnesium deficiency. But vitamin E is known to be very important for heart damage, treating heart damage. So it was a long history that she gave me. I did abbreviate it, but I think I covered what's important when someone even has had something as horrifying as a bypass, where you can overcome all that in a brief 6 weeks. This gentleman is doing extremely well, and I think of Roman, who's been probably at this for about a year, and he's still trying to overcome his 50-year low magnesium situation, but this gentleman, in 6 weeks, he's very much on top of everything. So I appreciate this email. They'll hear this on the archives or live, and if there are any more questions, we can take them either in quick or take them next week. So there you go, Ginny, 10 minutes of what to do when you've had heart bypass.
Very good. Excellent, excellent. All right, we're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. We don't have anybody ringing the phone off the hook right now, Carolyn. Do we have a couple mailbag questions we want to get answered?
Good, yes, exactly. Wonderful. Okay. Marie said I could use her first name, and now this is very long. I'll have to abbreviate this as well, but she loves the completement formulas, and she was wondering about Realign. She said she has betaine HCl already. She says she has some B12, and she said she takes some taurine, and it's like she has 3 or 4 things that she's taking, and wondered if she still needs the Realign. And I don't think she has a methionine, but I just said to her, well, why buy 4 different products, which probably are more costly than the one Realign? And she said, yeah, duh, that sounds right. Do the math, I said. How much do the 3-4 products cost compared to Realign? So then she started talking about the bliss she was feeling on the completement formulas, but just started to email me all the different things that have been shifting for her. She said she used to have extreme muscle tension and anxiety, for which she was prescribed Xanax, 19 years ago, she said. And as many people say, she's day by day, other pieces of her health history are clicking into place, that they're all due to magnesium deficiency. She talked about the medication she's taken. They wanted to give her the drugs that make your bones brittle for her osteoporosis, and she just refuses to believe that either she has osteoporosis or when she slipped a disc, she said she just refused to believe she was having pain. Now, that makes me think of the blog I recently did talking about Dr. John Sarno, who said that most people who have chronic pain really have stress pain, or what's he call it, tension myoneural syndrome. And he says it's due to stress and the body tenses up. I say it's due to magnesium deficiency on top of the stress. So again, Marie is going through her symptoms. She says she's treating her animals with her nutrients and magnesium. She talks about H. pylori infection she had, and I'll probably have to deal with that on a separate time. But basically, another person who's realizing day by day that allopathic medicine wasn't helping her at all, and just a short time of taking the Remag has brought all her symptoms into controllable state. So that's all I'll say right now. I may go through her emails again, see if I've left anything out, but it's very basic, positive email from another happy customer, Ginny.
I know we have so many happy customers these days. Okay, what else?
Yeah, well, there's a doctor who wrote from the UK saying that a patient of hers has responded so well to Remag, she swears by it. So this doctor was asking why it is that Remag is different from simple magnesium chloride. So I told her, and I emailed her back. Now, I haven't heard back from this doctor, so I don't know if she liked my answers. She says, what is picometer? What is stabilized ions? I mean, that's proprietary information. So do I have any clinical data showing serum levels or increasing urine excretion, / blah, blah, blah. So she's an alternative doctor. I know her name, and it's almost like instead of looking at the clinical application, they still want to know what the science is. And I said, well, the science is the clinical results. The serum levels of magnesium don't really shift too much because they stay in this constant range to keep the heart saturated with magnesium as much as possible. But, this is a dilemma with doctors and even alternative doctors. They want to know if there's any science in case they're questioned about what they're doing with their patients. But, basically, I didn't say this to her, but I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not going to bend over backwards or, try to find $1 million to do a study for this person so she'll use my REMAG. It's, for whosoever will. If people find REMAG and use it, that's fantastic. If they want to pass on the information, that's fantastic. But basically, doctoring is practicing medicine, and practicing medicine is applying solutions and seeing if they work. And I just know that most drugs aren't working for my patients or my customers, and the complement formulas are working.
And you're not practicing anymore.
And I'm not practicing.
You know what you're doing. No longer rehearsing. No practicing.
Yeah.
You have ascended to a knowing position at the top of the mountain of medical.com.
And that's .bob right there.
Yeah, .bob here.
.bob. Thank you, .bob. Okay, so I have another testimonial, Ginny, if I can keep going.
Yes, please. That would be awesome.
Our friend Aaron, he's called in many times. Actually, he and Roman started calling in around the same time with their situations. And Aaron wrote an email this week, and he says, I'm finally up to 80 RNA drops per day. And now I can take them anytime during the day, and I still fall asleep at night. My heart rate has flowed from 100 beats per minute to 60 beats per minute, and my resting heart rate is even lower. I'm not sure if I'm even getting any PVCs, but overall my heart is functioning so much better. Before I started taking your products, I couldn't sleep at night lying flat in the bed. I had to sleep in a sitting position because my heart palpitations and PVCs were so strong. But now I can sleep at night by lying flat on my bed, big exclamation mark. He says, I went through a lot of psychological stress for the last few months and did not keep up with my REMAG and REMITE every day. Shame on me. I'm getting back on track with taking them, so I'm hoping that my heart will get even better. I've been spending a lot of time at the beach lately, so I hope he's getting some vitamin D with the sun. And one amazing thing I've noticed about myself is that I don't require much food now. Overall, I'm doing great and hoping to get off my 20 milligrams of Lasix and 1,500 milligrams of potassium next month, since my blood pressure is down to 130/85. With much gratitude, Aaron. Now, Aaron, I'm just quickly looking here to see. I think he had the surgery. He's age 41, rheumatic heart disease at age 10 to 12, which affected his mitral valve. And by age 40, he was in heart failure with 20 pounds of fluid in his legs, and he had a mitral valve replacement. He came out of the hospital on 8 or 9 drugs. He was able to breathe and walk again because it took off the fluid, but he was experiencing chronic fatigue, depression, panic attacks. And then 14 months after the surgery, he started to have PVCs and arrhythmias, and that's because the drugs were probably draining his magnesium. His doctor said he needed more surgery, He went into a panic. They changed his beta blocker. I mean, drugs, surgery. He's getting dizzy, etc. And then he came across the Magnesium Miracle and realized he was having magnesium deficiency causing the PVCs. Began taking Remag. 2 weeks later, went for an echo, and everything was normal. Was blown away. The doctor said to take thousands of milligrams of potassium, but not magnesium, even though in the hospital he was on IV magnesium. So here's a guy who, less than a year ago, I'm just going up here to find out what date that Aaron first called us on. It's coming up here, July 2015. So in, less than half a year, he doesn't even phone in anymore. He just he writes in from the beach and tells us how well he's doing. All right.
That's right. That's right. Very good. Yeah. Very good. Excellent. All right, Carolyn.
So, Jimmy, I think we've got the last minute. You have the last minute. Okay, here's the last minute. It's all yours.
We got an email from Jim who wrote in, I would have been on the next phone call, but this email will be sufficient. I told you I was concerned with my mother's hypertension for over a year. I made sure that a bottle of Remag and Remite were sitting next to my mother's Brita water pitcher. For some reason, about a month ago, I found a pretty big jar, and I decided this would be Mom's drinking water. I believe that something is better than nothing, so don't be shocked that my mother gets 1 squirt of Remag and 1 squirt of Remite for every 8 ounces of water she drinks. I make sure she gets 1 squirt of each. Tonight she said, have you noticed I'm feeling better lately? Do you think it's the minerals? And I said, you're replacing the minerals that you've lost from taking all those diuretics. Isn't that awesome?
Awesome. Good for you, Jim. Thank you. Keep it up. Go to 2 squirts, Jim. Thanks, Ginny. Thanks,
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Bob.
I'm going after Mike Adams. Let's look forward to that.
You can't apply it. They're going to take it away from you any minute because it's all over, and then you're going to be in the dumpster, but you can't afford the dumpster. That costs money. So, but as long as you can keep your phones and keep your boxes and keep your things and tweeting and podding and peeing and all the things that you do, as long as you can do that, I guess it'll be all right.
You were saying that all those things that you interact with were also a creation. And we say yes, but they had to be spoken. Otherwise, how would you know to call it a doorknob?
divine name is a universal sound that, when intoned, has the ability to bring harmony and healing to ourselves and the planet. Discover the power of this lost sound through the new book, The Divine Name, by Healing Sounds pioneer Jonathan Goldman. With a foreword by Greg Braden and a free instructional CD, this groundbreaking book can take us to a new level of evolution. Go to www.thedivinename.com and discover the divine name.
Open to find a way out.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. The oldest and most trusted station of its kind in the world. This is AchieveRadio.com.
It's been a too long time with no peace of mind, and I'm ready for the times